5, Aaron Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Education. What progress has been made reopening schools and early childhood education centres in Christchurch following the 22nd of February earthquake?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that as of today, other than 2 special schools and 2 private schools whose students have been accommodated elsewhere, that all schools in Christchurch are now open. And this means that every student in Christchurch has a school to go to. In addition to that, 74% of early childhood centres are now open.
Aaron Gilmore.
Supplementary question to the Minister. What is the latest information on the number of school children that have returned to Christchurch?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, it's pleasing that as of lunchtime today, more than 1,600 students, actually 1,643 students, have returned to Christchurch. And it was interesting to talk to students yesterday who were returning from Christchurch to Christchurch from Auckland, and they were telling me how awesome it was that their school was now open and they could get back to some sort of normality.
Aaron Gilmore.
Supplementary question. What support is being provided for ECE centres to help get them open again?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, we've extended the emergency funding to help provide some financial stability for early childhood centres whose children have temporarily moved away or who are being kept at home by their parents. And in addition, we've relocated 25 services into temporary accommodation. We're also providing traumatic support and counselling. We are supplying portaloos where necessary and other logistical support and resources that centres might require.
Sue Moroney.
Of the children returning to the early childhood education centres that have opened still face increased fees as a result of her budget cuts.
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Well, Mr Speaker, in talking to the providers of early childhood services, if that member cares to do it, she would find that they are so grateful that this government has extended the full emergency funding to them, and in addition we are funding the places for children that have enrolled in other centres throughout New Zealand, that many of them are just trying to keep their businesses together.
Sorry, is this a supplementary question?
Oh, point of order.
Point of order, Sue Moroney.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. That was a straightforward question. The Minister didn't address the question at all. I asked about the number of children returning to early childhood education facilities in Christchurch where fees had been increased, and she made no reference to that in her answer.
That's right. Absolutely right.
I'll invite the member to repeat her question so that everyone can... Order. The questions can be hypothetical, and in fact the question just asked, as simple as the member points out, a simple question: how many of these children are facing higher fees? Now, the question is capable of an answer, and there wasn't much attempt to answer it. Sue Moroney, to repeat the question.
To the Minister. How many of the parents of the children returning to early childhood education facilities in Christchurch face higher fees?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I understand that the parents of those children who are returning to newly opened early childhood services are so pleased to have those services open and available to them. I can honestly say that none of them have tried to play politics.
Point of order, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr Speaker, the point of asking questions to ministers in the House is to hold a minister accountable. If the minister will not address the question asked, we have no accountability and this question time becomes a farce.
I have some sympathy with the point of order the member's making, because what compounds the minister's error, in my view, was adding the implication that the member asking the question was playing politics. I mean, members are entitled to ask questions. My concern about the question is that it is a wee way away from the primary question, and it may be the minister doesn't have that information with her today. But the minister, in answering questions, and there have been 3 of them, 4 counting the primary question, did mention early childhood children returning to their early childhood centres. Now, the question is a fair one. Answers have included information about children returning to early childhood centres, and to allege that the member is playing politics and asking a fair question is not on. So I invite the Minister to answer the question. We don't need to repeat it because we all heard it. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr. Speaker, I have no responsibility for any fees that any business may charge its parents. What I have said, no, I do not. What I have said is, as Minister of Education, I have made sure that the emergency funding that the government pays to those services has continued now for 5 weeks. Whatever those businesses might care to charge or not their parents has been nothing to do with this government. However, no parent has tried in any way to play politics about this government's policies or not.
Supplementary question, Sue Moroney.
To the Minister, is the Minister prepared to consider restoring the funding cuts to the Christchurch early childhood education centres which led to the higher fee increases in order to assist those families who are struggling?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
There is no evidence of any higher fee increases in Christchurch, and the answer is no.
Question or order, Te Roroa Flavel.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, thank you. To the Minister, a supplementary question. How has the formalised education relationship between the Ministry of Education and Te Runanga o Ngaitahu assisted in post-earthquake responses to early childhood centres, schools and kura?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr. Speaker, because of those relationships with Ngāi Tahu, it has been very easy to make contact with them, to offer support. At this stage, none has been requested, but they are aware that the Ministry is there and able to provide any of those services that I listed before, should they require them, and indeed if they require temporary premises.
Question number 6, Charles Chauvel.
Thank